is in a little bit of danger. Going to be a drop coming in here into the natural behind the minerals. He might get some damage done. Science Vessel also over those. And Scourge are not going to go for it because of the minerals in play. Light also thinking of threatening at the front just so he kind of split up some of the forces. A lot of the drones go down, it seems. And the Sea Giant's going to be threatening at the front. So Light trying to go for these dual prong attacks. Also has spotted the 9 o'clock coming up. Has some Marines there to pick that up. Dropship doesn't quite go down. And irradiate on one of the Scourge of all things. And another irradiate one of the Defilers. So I think Light's going to be forced to back up from the front. But has meanwhile picked off a hatchery here at the 9 o'clock position. It does seem like he's putting himself to expand at the 3 o'clock position himself. Also has, I think, an SCV at the upper left hand, but double expanding at this point I think will be... Okay, never mind. He is going to be taking the risk. Has floated a command center into that in the 3 o'clock position. Just has to land that. It might be a Zergling or a Lurker there, actually. But also expand the upper left hand, hoping to hide an export. Double expanding. This is a risk, but he's putting on the pressure. He's adding in production buildings. So he's hoping that with this continued pressure, Jaedong won't be able to push out and won't be able to threaten him. Doing a great job overall of keeping Jaedong in check. He's going to meanwhile try to break out of this 5 o'clock position with the Lurkers at the front, Dark Swarms. Let's see what he manages to do. That tank almost going down. Marines go down though, so he might manage to break out. But Light coming in with even more reinforcements, moving with more force at all positions. So he's doing a great job of reinforcing. He's not being forced to play defensive, and Jaedong has not made him pay for this constant aggression. He's not really tried to bypass Light to go for attacks as natural, because really I think Light might be a little bit weaker back home, although I do think he has a troop out there. Vultures planting mines all over the place outside the natural expansion, so if Jaedong does decide to move out, he's got to be at the very least killed by mines. Some of those Lurkers, 3 of those Lurkers take some very heavy damage from mines, so they're going to be also going to have to be very careful how they move out. So Light at this point has 2 large troops. One Lurker goes down and more get heavily damaged. All those Lurkers have taken a significant damage. One C shot could take all of them down at this point. And really like this mix from Light, also utilizing Vultures at this point to put out those mines. Jaedong really hasn't had any Overlords flying across the field. Mines doing some damage. More Lurkers going down. Oh man, that is some surprise sloppiness from Jaedong, actually. The second he knew about those mines, should have had some Overlords flying around. One dropship going to go down at that lower right hand, but he's yet again going to drop that 5 o'clock. Firebat's leading the charge. Those Zerglings are in play. Don't see any Dark Swarm yet. Also going to attack from the front. He wants to go and break this base here, putting out a lot of pressure on Jaedong. Just with his Medic Marines, nice showing that he doesn't need mech to beat a Zerg, and really has just a huge line from his 3 o'clock position, also putting up factories and stuff at his upper left hand. So might be thinking of transitioning into mech, not together too sure. Might just be going for biomech because he has already gotten a lot of upgrades for his forces. Do believe he's at 2-2 on his upgrades. Kind of hard to tell with this video quality, not the best. Zerg players are the Zerg is at Carapace 2, Weapons 2, and it does seem like the Terran's at 2-2 himself. Gonna yet again push out at this 5 o'clock natural expansion, which did come up. So he wants to try to take that down because Jaedong is on 4 bases, but 4-4 against the Terran player. He's done a lot of damage, being very aggressive. One play that hits only 5 Marines. That's not quite enough. Some of the Marines just going to bypass that Dark Swarm, knowing there are no Lurkers there. Just going to continue bypassing, try to get in there, get some fire on top of those Zerglings that are altogether not going to be too successful, not going to be able to do any significant damage, but just keeping on the constant pressure. Unfortunately now, Jaedong finally doing some decent counterattacking. Had some forces with the Dark Swarm at the upper right-hand position. There is a Siege Tank Medic Marines running right in there, ready to pick off those Zerglings. They're going to want to engage on the Dark Swarm. Defiler is going to stay alive as well. Siege Tank's going to want to siege up and be defensive there. Jaedong finally just running around and trying to clear up positions, trying to yet again clear up this 9 o'clock for himself. Should actually maybe think about the 6 o'clock, a little bit less vulnerable, and needs to get Nidus Canal at his every single base, even that 5 o'clock natural. Also has an Ultralisk Cavern up now, so he's going to be taking up already. I'm not quite sure of his strength. He has the strength overall to do this, though. He's been denied a lot of mining. He's been denied a lot of units. He hasn't really gotten that many units out. Not too much support. If he decides to go for Ultras, have some Zerglings and has some Lurkers and Defilers out there, but not too large a number. Light has also done a great job to fight him back and keep constant pressure on Jaedong, so, who is just now finally fighting back. But Light trying to set up defensive postures everywhere, siege tanks, bunkers, and adding in a bunch of factories, but for now it seems like he's just sticking to biomech. He has those tanks out there in large numbers, and I'm not quite sure whether he's going to go for full-out mech transition. I don't think this is the best map for it, personally. I think actually sticking to Medic Marines just gives you the maneuverability that you need, especially since Light has a base at the upper left hand and all the way to the upper right hand, so he kind of needs to not split himself up too much. Has siege tanks on the ridge there, and he has to be overall careful. A lot of medics there could have been caught out in the open. But yeah, Jaedong finally going for Nidus Canal at this 5 o'clock natural, and has some Sunkens at the front, so finally Light's not just going to be able to waltz in there and do whatever damage he wants to, but still Jaedong only on 4 bases, and he hasn't really done too much to disrupt Light's economy. Did go for that attack at the 3, but that didn't do too much. His mine still being annoying. Siege tanks sieged everywhere on top of that ridge, and another command surge is going to float down to the 11 o'clock natural. When you're a Terran player and you're out macroing a Zerg player this heavily, you're a base over a Zerg player. Just being at the same amount of bases, 4 to 4 bases to a Zerg player, that gives you a significant economic and production advantage. Although, of course, Light isn't really producing much at his main or natural at this point. Really doesn't have much in the way of mineral resource income, because he also really likes to saturate all of his stuff. Just needs to put a bunker there at the 3 o'clock position. Still doing a great job of keeping in there. Gonna get plagued on some of his science vessels. 3 of them, in fact. Scourge gonna come into play. Medic Marines gonna force them back though. But still, Light, very good economic position, is gonna put up a 3rd mining base for himself at this point in the game. 3 mining bases for a Terran player, very strong. Of course, the Zerg player tends to have every single one of his bases saturated the entire game from beginning to end. But now the natural going to get threatened yet again. A lot of the Scourge going down, just going into 1 science vessel, picking off 2. I think he actually sacked 10 of those to pick off 1. Attack there at the lower end position too. Also, I think there was a Nidus or a Sunken that went down. Not really too sure. Jaedong going to try to fight back at natural expansion here with Ultras at the front. Lurkers going to try to get him from the back with some Zerg support. Ray going to go on down. One of the Lurkers. Light is going to be forced back all the way. So Jaedong is going to be able to defend, but he still doesn't have the best position to put up an initial base. I think he's trying to put one down at the 9 o'clock position, but Light just putting on constant pressure. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pressure play from him at all sides. I'm absolutely loving this. Also going to completely wall off with supply depots at 3 o'clock position. It looks like Jaedong is going to try to go for a massive physics lab. Oh, I love you guys. 3 o'clock position, it looks like is going to be dropped. Marines trying to come in there before that happens. Not going to be able to deny too much. Dark Swarm going to come up. Workers and Zerglings, 2 Dark Swarms, only 1 siege tank. And Light's going to have to run in with a lot of forces. Science vessels flying all over. SCVs are going to get taken off the line. And Command Center probably won't go down because it can get flown up. Meanwhile, defensive Matrix dropship going to the 9 o'clock position. A very fresh base from Jaedong. Hasn't gotten any mining yet. Tulorker's going to burrow down. But these Medic Marines going to try to do as much damage as they can. 1 Firebat in there as well. Scourge actually will take out that dropship. And the Light won't really accomplish much here other than some disruption. Picking off all the drones before the Marines go down. The Lurker with only, I think 1 hit from those Medic Marines, which are being kept alive by the Medic for a significant amount of time. The Lurkers, of course, with no weapons upgrades. So. And yes, Light, I'm not quite sure if I think he floated up. Pretty sure he floated up the command center at the 3 o'clock, but still did take some significant damage. All of the SCVs just run across the entire map, all the way to the 11 o'clock. Just screw this, we're staying alive. Physics lap up, so we're going to be seeing a transition into battle cruiser. Not something I'm used to seeing from Light. Has a lot of siege tanks on the ground. Battle cruiser flying around the air, and he's still. Oh my God! Look at that! Absolutely beautiful plague. Just painted that entire wall with 1 shot. Putting that wall of Marines with 1 shot. Absolutely magnificent plague. That will stop. That will definitely stop Light in his tracks there. But now we see the battlecruiser already coming into play. He's just leaving them out there unattended, like, I do not fear Scourge. Scourge are cowardly beings. They just, suicide themselves. I do not fear them. Going to be producing more only off those 2 starports. But yeah, Jordy has them flying around. Didn't quite see whether it had upgrades or not. But still keeping up the constant pressure. Just hope he didn't accidentally doom himself with that. Hope he's not getting cocky just because he is ahead. He did get a 3 o'clock position denied, but the battlecruiser is going to go for that 9 o'clock. Going to try to do the damage there. And he has gotten his command center back up at the 3 o'clock position, getting his SCVs back in there, mining straight away. Drones here at this 9 o'clock position being picked off. And Jaedong, despite keeping his ultras in play, is not in the best of positions. I think they're fully upgraded. I can't quite spot. I think they're actually armor 5 weapons too. Battlecruisers, meanwhile, clearing the drone line at the 9 o'clock. That's economic damage Jaedong can't take. Try to go for another attack here at the 3 o'clock. Without Defiler support, don't think it's going to be very long-lived. These Zerglings will do some damage, limited damage, but not too much. A lot of Scourge in play now. They're going to be forced to go out there and try to pick off the the Battlecruisers, which actually go in there and pick off that 9 o'clock hatchery. Jaedong allowing that. Finally, Scourge coming into play. So these Battlecruisers, one of them will still barely stay alive. But the two Battlecruisers more than got the job done, picking off the entire 9 o'clock position completely unattended. Irradiates on all the Overlords, so whatever they drop is going to take some damage, and the Command Center did get floated up from that 3 o'clock position, so overall a lot of damage done by Jaedong there. Base trade, but at this point base trading is not something Jaedong wants to do. He wants to kill bases. The Command Center might have actually gone down completely. I think it's actually floating around, not too sure. I think it's floating around actually very close to Jaedong's base at all places, but now Light going to go for yet another attack here at the 5 o'clock, and Jaedong just can't produce enough. He's losing another base, mining only off. It does have the 6 o'clock, only mining off 4 though, and his main and natural can't be doing too well. He's just economically not enough production, not enough, and Light can resupply. Light can resupply. He might lose his medic marines, might not, probably not going to lose them. Could lose some of his science vessels. One Scourge actually kind of lagging behind. Might still lose one of the science vessels. It doesn't. But still has these forces, a few of them here at the lower right hand. And you see Jaedong did try to go for counterattacks, did force a float, did destroy that entire 3 o'clock base. But still, Light has that entire upper left hand corner fully mining from him. And if he wants, he can transition towards the 12 o'clock. And everywhere he is, he's defended fairly well at the front. No frontal attacks will work on him. Drops will work. But now he has a lot of siege tank. Not well upgraded. Only weapons 1. But he does seem like he wants to go and start breaking some positions. I'm not even sure if he was building more battlecruisers. There wasn't really any sort of an all-in maneuver from him. It seems like he only built 2. He only had 2 star puts up, so he just built 2 battlecruisers. They went to the 9 o'clock and picked off that base, and killed all the drones and then picked off the base as well to boot. So that was a lot of damage done just with those 2 battlecruisers. Is going to get a lot of his tank numbers plagued, but still has those in-game, and Jaedong just, you can see he really doesn't have the production, really doesn't have the unit count. While Light just keeps up the constant production, still has medic marines running around all over the place. He's losing a little bit to plagues, losing a little bit to some nice attacks, nice micro from Jaedong, but altogether his Ultralisks and Zerglings with some low Defiler support really aren't getting the job done. Meanwhile, Light has picked up the 12 o'clock position for himself, so he's going to get a 3rd mining base out of it now. And Jaedong, I think he's just in his death throes at this point, trying to desperately, valiantly fight back in this nice defensive matrix on that front T-Siege tank, but I think really Jaedong could conserve his energy at this point. And GG. I understand he doesn't want to lose. There he goes. There's the GG. But he doesn't want to lose on the maps that he should win, on the non-imbalanced maps. I mean, next up is Odd Eye, I believe, and that's a Terran favorite map. That's a map Jaedong thumbed down, so there might be a little bit of something uncomfortable about that map that he feels, maybe specifically against Light, because he's been doing rather well on it. But he doesn't want to lose. He should be trying to win before he gets to the 5th set, because that's Polaris Rhapsody. That's a map that's going to be a challenge for him. So he wants to get this done. He wants to abuse the balance of fighting spirit. He wants to take advantage of Triathlon and Odd Eye, which aren't as blatantly horrible for Zerg as Polaris Rhapsody. And I think Light, if he manages to get to Polaris Rhapsody, he is going to have a significant chance to beat Jaedong here and force this to be a TVT final in MSL. So we're going to see exactly how it goes. GG guys, ranching out to assisting. Hope you enjoyed.